Hello, and welcome to this QuickBooks Online course. Today, we will focus on how to prepare a 1099 MISC form. Perhaps you're a small business owner or a company, and you need to process and send out 1099 forms en masse. There are many different software platforms that you can use to prepare your 1099 forms. QuickBooks Online has templates as well. You can send the contractors who work with you their 1099s directly through QuickBooks Online. Ready to learn? Come on! But before we dive in, I want to emphasize that this is a demo, which means all the information you will see is just a temporary sample. Until you use your actual QuickBooks, it'll be different. Ready? Let's go. The dashboard is always the first thing you'll see when logging in. Now, the fiscal year ends December 31st. The dates can vary year by year. When it's time to send out your 1099 forms, you must first take a look back at your vendor center. You'll see your vendor list with all the names and information. Now, to process payments, the best practice is to go to Vendor, this is a sample vendor. Take a look here. Suppose this is an independent contractor. They would fill out the W-9 form with their name, and maybe some are even business owners. They'd put their EIN number or Social Security number, depending on if they're using their EIN or their business. That information should be attached here. Add the attachment and then check off Track 1099. That's the best practice in processing payments to your contractors. Now, once your payments are processed throughout the year, and you're getting closer to December 31st, and you're ready to move forward with your 1099 report, you go to, as seen on the screen, Contractors. The vendor called Cigna Healthcare is the one I just checked off previously. After you review everything and make sure there are no errors, you then it will pull up the 1099 page and you will hit Let's Get Started. It'll ask for your company and EIN number. I'm just going to use the sample. I just put down some random numbers for now. You would use your real EIN number, and not this sample. You now have to check off the box that applies to you. So if you have an independent contractor, you check off the box that says non-employee compensation, and then hit the arrow to open the drop box to select your account. Remember, this should be your expense account. So scroll down and review all of your expense accounts. Look through them all. I highly recommend checking them all off. Once you're finished checking them each, now I've only done part of it for demo purposes, but you'd need to do so completely, because even if your independent contractor is there, there may be a situation where you need for a different account. For example, maybe you had them design an advertisement and you paid them for their advertising service, but later you pay them for something like web development. advertising and web development would be in different accounts. You might miss something if you pay different accounts. If you pay $400 for one thing and $800 for another, the IRS requires you to report any independent contractor above $600. So if you check off 400 but not 800, you'll miss it. So it's important to check off everything so that it picks up all transactions, both 400 and 800 for a total of 1200. So that's the example, and once you've checked off everything, hit Next, and you'll see this page with the three contractors' name and several missing fields like address, tax ID, email, action. So what you do if you see this is go to Vendor Center and update all the necessary information. Like I mentioned, the best practice is to collect W-9 information first before you start processing everything so that the information is ready and you don't have to chase it down. The 1099 is due January 31st, so if you don't have everything and need to chase it down, like in this demo, you may pass the deadline, which would mean penalty fees or interest, which you don't want. So it's important to make a habit of getting the W-9 before feeding everything into the system. Now upon hitting next, you'll notice my page is blank. And that's due to the fact that this independent contractor didn't make above $600 or because you didn't have anyone work. But if you have any that have earned above $600, then they will appear one by one under contractor. That's where you can plan to send out your 1099 forms. You click here, and you'll see two options. One is an electronic automated file, which is cheaper and would allow Intuit to pull all the information from QuickBooks, the exact amounts, contact information, everything, ultimately making sending out the 1099 easier. Some prefer to do it manually, so you'd go with option 2 in that case. Print and mail yourself, which does cost more and is more prone to human error. For those reasons, I'd recommend using the automated system. When you process, it will connect to Intuit, which is the umbrella company that every software, including QuickBooks, is under. So the information would come up and you type the rest. Name, last name, etc. I needed to fill in some fields since I've been using sample information from the demo. And once I'm finished, if I have any independent contractors above $600, they'll appear, which you won't see right now because again, this is a demo. Take a look at the amounts and ensure they're correct and then hit submit, and that's it. It will send you your contractor's email address as well as a physical copy sent to their mailing address, which is why I recommend that you update your forms regularly. Every year, because mailing addresses can change frequently. Once this process is complete, your independent contractors can file their own tax returns based on your 1099. Simple, right? And that is how to prepare your 1099 through QuickBooks Online. Imagine if you had 300 or 400 independent contractors and you had to manually complete forms for each one. You don't need to. Use QuickBooks and make your life easier. Click, click. That's all it takes. It's just a few clicks. Click, click, and submit. And that's it. Simple. If you feel unsure and need further guidance, feel free to reach out and I'll happily help guide you.